So I have this friend who wrote this really great book. It's called Convertible Crystal Jewels. It's Convertible Crystal Jewels. Diane Whiting is her name. Diane and I have been friends for years, and she is a wonderful teacher, and she's a very innovative designer. I love the concept of this book, that you can take a project and change it and wear it in multiple ways. And there, you can see these little tabs right up here. These are all projects that I tabbed for myself that I just absolutely have to do. The very first one that I did, I'm actually going to demo for you guys today. She gave me permission to show you guys how to do this. And it's so cool. And it's using materials that you might not normally have used in the past, which is another thing that I think is very, very cool. So what it is this, it's called a disco necklace / bracelet kind of thing. It is using these Swarovski, they're called Rivoli pendants. So it's that Rivoli shape, but we're not going to bezel it. There's actually a hole in the Rivoli for you to put a jump ring on. And here it is in the full necklace version. Basically what we're going to do with this is make a really long chain. And it's going to be something that you can double and wear as a double necklace. You could tie it and use it as a lariat. You can wrap it multiple times around your wrist and use it as a bracelet. And it has all this wonderful movement to it that I think is so fascinating. So let me show you here a little close-up. This is, well actually first I'll show you this way. This is the piece that I have almost finished. I'm going to glue the whole ends together here on camera. But you can see how all these little Rivoli pendants just move and sparkle as you move. And this is twisted just a little bit, but how you can wear it, you've got multiple ways you can wear it, and when you have it untwisted, not like I have it, anyway, you can see how they just lay perfectly in a line. It's so beautiful. So now let me bring you in close and let's take a look at how exactly we're going to do this. So these are the little Rivoli pendants. Let me put this right here so you can see this. It's got the little hole up at the top. It's got a pointed, let's see here, how can I hold this? Here, we'll use one of these with the jump rings. There we go. So you can see where it kind of comes to a point here on this side and it comes to a point here on this side. So it's just a really pretty faceted piece that's going to throw a lot of light and sparkle. And for this particular necklace / bracelet, you use an entire factory pack of these, which is 144 pieces. This is what it looks like when I get a factory pack of any kind of Swarovski crystal. They come in these little envelopes. It's kind of like a very special presentation. And then you open it up and it's this very cool envelope of lovely goodness. And there is your 144 of these particular Rivolis in this color. So now this is a lot to use in a particular necklace, but you know me, I am one of those people who believes that having a lot of a single element really makes things gorgeous and special. So the only other major thing that you need to make this particular project is, and this is the other product I bet you've never used before, is called Wirelace. And this is wire that is a very, very, very fine wire that is knitted together into a little tube. And so you can actually move this around and use this in multiple ways. I'm going to have a series of videos here that we're going to be using this type of product because I just think it's so much fun. So you can make waves in it and leave it like that. In this case, what we're going to do is a simple crochet rope. And even if you've never done crochet before, I guarantee you that you can do this. All this is a chain stitch, and I'm going to show you how to do it right here on the video, so you don't have to worry about knowing how to crochet. Okay, so with the Wirelace, what you need is the 3mm size, and you need 5 yards of it. And it comes in a spool of 5 yards. And I will have this product for sale on my website. I will also have a small number of kits that will have some color combinations with the Rivolis and the Wirelace. So I will have all the product separately, but then also in kit form. So if you don't like my color combos, you can come up with your own. And then the other thing, other than these Rivolis that you need, are jump rings. And so the very first thing to do when you're getting all of this ready is we're going to take these jump rings and we are going to attach them to all of these little Rivoli pendants. It doesn't take very long. It's something that I did while I sat, and I'm looking for the split there. There it is. It's something that I did while I was watching television. And so, you know, it took basically, I don't know, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes of a television program to sit and put all of those jump rings on these Rivolis. And like so. Now I'm using my hand because this is a base metal jump ring that I'm using. It's a silver plated. This is one of the Tierra Cast jump rings, so I know that this plating is never going to come off. Tierra Cast is a great company that I love to pieces, and I really trust their finishes. So I'm only using one of my flat nose pliers here, but if you wanted to, if you've got 2 pairs of flat nose pliers, you can actually do it that way too. Oops, hello. There we go, to do your open and close. That way you don't have to sacrifice any fingernails or anything. And then close this on up. Hello. Trying to do this too far away from my face, I can't see. There we go. Okay, so you'll get all of those done. And then once you've got all that done, then what you're going to do is you're going to string those on your wire lace. And it's just as simple as doing this. Your wire lace, you can actually pinch or roll into a bit of a almost a needle type configuration so that it's nice and thin and easy to get into your jump rings here. So you'll just string all those onto your wire lace. So really half of this project is just the prep, which means that it's perfect while you're watching your favorite episode of Good Wives, or let's see, what else is really good on TV these days? We're getting to the end of the seasons. Okay, so I'm only going to just put that many on. I'm not going to do tons more. Oh, this colorway is going to be gorgeous, isn't it? Look at how beautiful those are together. Oh, I'm in love. Okay, so you want to leave yourself a little bit of a tail. We're not going to need it later other than to tie a knot, so you don't leave a huge, huge tail. And what you want to do is create an overhand knot to get your crochet started. I'm using a size G hook, which is what is called for in the instructions. And I'm just wrapping this around my finger and then bringing that long end up through the hole. And there's a little loop for me to start my crochet, like so. Then you can kind of tighten it on the hook. And the pattern that we're going to do here is we're going to do a single crochet, so a chain stitch. Now, I'm not explaining this yet, but I will here in a second for those of you who need the explanation. So I'm doing one chain stitch. Okay, trying to make sure that I can actually get it through that first loop. There we go. And then on the next one, I'm going to bring up one of these pendants and just let it sit right there. And so then when I make this next chain stitch, it gets hooked into that stitch. So you're going to alternate doing one stitch without and then one stitch with. And you'll just move these pendants along as you need to feed more, either more wire lace or feed more of the pendants into your piece. Now I want to show you something else here because this is significant. Okay, so let's see, I need to do one with none and then another one. Get that in there. Because on my piece, this first piece that I made, I cheated a little bit. So let me just kind of show you the difference here. Notice how these are spaced out more than these are. And it's because on this one, I actually put a pendant in every single loop. I didn't do a chain stitch without a pendant. I actually put a pendant stitch in each loop. So this just is going to make it a little bit shorter, where doing a stitch in between will make it a little bit longer. So it's up to you what kind of look you like better. So let me talk those of you through who need it through the chain stitch a little more clearly. And I have, let's see here, so all we're doing is I'm kind of holding this, the long piece in my non-dominant hand and just bringing it up over my finger. And you're just going to take that hook and you're bringing it underneath that the strand of wire lace here and catching it with your hook, and then just bringing that through that one loop that's on your hook. So all it is catching that strand and bringing it through your hook. So you guys can totally do this. And then when you're bringing in a pendant for your stitch, all you have to do, the only difference here is that you're bringing that pendant in and putting it right next to the previous loop, but you don't have to do anything differently. It's still just catching that thread and then going through the loop. That's all it is. If my instructions don't make sense to you, I have a buddy named Marley Bird who does a great crochet channel, and she also has instructions on how to do this, and I'll pop a link up for that. So you're going to go ahead and take care of all this prep work and crochet all your pendants in, and when we come back, I will show you how we're going to put the whole thing together. Hopefully you've gotten all of your crochet done now, and we're ready to join the two ends together. And it's a really simple process, again, to just join the two ends, but there's one little trick and I want to show that to you. So let's take a closer look here. Here I have my last stitch that I am working on, and what I want to do is join that to the first stitch that on the other end. So it's so simple to do this. So with your loop still on that hook, we're going to go and just find one of the loops from that very first stitch and kind of wiggle your crochet hook in there. Then we're going to take the remaining long end of your wire lace. We're going to just do the same thing that you've been doing, except you're going to go through both of those loops instead of just a single loop. And then we can remove your hook. That end, we're just going to pop right through that loop and slowly close that down. And what that's going to do is create a little knot right there. All right, so now those ends are joined, but we're going to make that join even more secure right now by tying these two ends in a square knot. So if you remember from back when you were a kid, a square knot is where you do right over left first and tighten that down, and then left over right. So the big trick with a square knot is to lead with the other side on the second half of it. Okay, so there we've got our little knot join, and you can kind of, because this is wire, you can kind of manipulate this somewhat. So I'm kind of smushing it down a little bit so that it's not very tall. And then what I'm going to do here is we're just going to add just a bit of glue right on this knot area. You can use hypo-cement glue. The glue that I'm actually going to use is called Gem-Tack glue. But basically any glue that's going to dry clear is what you want. So let's see here. Let me get my glue out of here. You do not need much. You're just going to dab it right in that area. Make sure you get the knot nice and coated. And then what you're going to have to do is let that glue dry. And that's the hardest part of the whole process, is letting that glue dry. This Gem-Tack will dry up in probably a couple of hours. It should be good enough to snip off these ends and wear your project. You can see I got a little bit on my last rivelet there. Let's kind of clean that off before it gets too ridiculous. Okay, so while it's white now, it will dry clear. And so once it's dried, I'm going to snip these two ends off, and then I have this fabulous necklace to wear, nice and long. I can double it. I can loop it over and over again for a bracelet, like so. Oh, how wonderful is that, and how fun is that to play? I'm being a little gentle with it, so I'm not, because that glue hasn't dried, so that's not exactly what it's going to look like on your wrist. It's going to look a lot better on your wrist, but I'm just trying to not make sure that I don't screw this up. because I like it so much. Thank you, Diane Whiting, so much for letting me show my viewers your project. And I hope that it gets them interested in this book, because this book is so cool. Let me actually just show you a couple more of these projects. These are all ones that I have marked to do myself. This is a Tila bead project where she's got one color on one side of the project and one color on the other side, so you can reverse it and have two different colors. Let's see here. Oh, I love this piece. So this little piece right here has Swarovski crystals, fringes, and you can wear it on a long rope like so. You can, oops, wrong way. There we go. There it is. You can wear it as a slider on a necklace. So I think that this is very cool that you can use this piece in multiple ways. And let's see, there was at least one more in here that I had marked for myself. And that is that beautiful O-ring that used the previous piece, this piece right here. So you're using, making this circle, and you're using one color of crystal on one side, one color of crystal on the other side. And so you're able to create a piece that looks completely different depending on which side you bring forward. I just think that this concept is great. The projects are good. They're not overwhelming. They're good for beginner level people as well as more intermediate and advanced people. So I think it's got something for everybody. Go buy her book. She'll love you. I'll love you. And you're going to love your jewelry. Happy beading.